Welcome to the Heart of a Viking. This channel offers elementary art lessons taught by Mrs. Minto from the Cape Henlopen School District in Delaware. I look forward to virtually creating with you. There are new lessons posted weekly. Subscribe to the channel to make sure you don't miss a single one. So go grab your art supplies and your thinking caps and let's begin. All right, fifth graders, today's an exciting day. We're going to take those beautiful pond ecosystem colorings that we made last time, and we're going to turn them into an agamograph. So what exactly is an agamograph? Well, I have a few details for you, but if you want to hear more, there's a link in the description below. You can go and listen to about a 10-minute video that really goes into detail about Yaakov Agam. Okay, so for our project, we're going to use something that was created and invented by Agam himself. This is called an agamograph. So an agamograph is a work of art where viewed from different angles, you see a different piece of artwork. So that's what we're going to be doing today. We're going to be using our above ground pond as one view and our below water as the second view. So stick with me, I'll show you how to fold, cut, and glue back together your two works of art to make a beautiful agamograph. Alright, so if you haven't already, you want to make sure that you have colored your above water and your below water ecosystems. Make sure that you have colored to the best of your ability. You really want to have some shading, you really want to have shadows, pressing hard, blending colors. You really want to go the extra mile to make sure that your coloring is as fantastic as it can be. In addition, you want to make sure that you can very clearly see each object. I did not trace the edges. Often we trace with Sharpie. However, we didn't do that this time. But if your coloring isn't clear enough, for example, if your little ducky sort of blends into the water, then when we cut and glue these back together to make our agamograph, yours won't be as successful as someone who takes a little extra time and colors a little more clearly. So if you feel like you need to color a little bit more today, that's not a bad idea. Go ahead and do that, and then jump into the next part with me as soon as you're finished. Alright, so for this next part, you're going to refold your paper so that the pretty coloring is on the inside, and you're going to be folding the left side over to the right side. Take your time. Line up these edges so nicely that it looks like one piece of paper, not 4 layers folded on top. And then once you have it nice and folded, make sure you press it nice and flat. That's what I'm working on right now. And just like a lot of time in origami projects, once we make a fold, sometimes we have to reopen it. So after you've made that fold, you're going to go ahead and reopen it. And then you're going to fold the right edge to that middle fold that you just finished making. So I'm folding that over, pressing it nice and flat, taking my time, lining things up. I really want these to be nice and straight. Then I'm going to do the same thing to the left side. The left side comes over and folds into the center. Okay, so now open up those, and you should see that you have 3 folds, which actually makes 4 columns. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 4 columns. But we're not done yet. We have a few more folds to make. Make sure that your drawing is still the right way, didn't get flipped upside down. And now I'm going to take this left edge and line it up with the very first fold that's right on the left side, just like that. We're not going very far. This is a small fold. And again, fold it nice and flat after lining it up nice and even. And then you might guess we're going to repeat the same fold on the right side. So now I'm moving over to the right side of my paper and making that same fold the right edge to the right first fold. All right, so now I need to fold so that I can divide those two middle columns into thinner columns. I'm only tracing these lines so you can see what I'm doing. You do not need to trace the lines like I did. So if you can imagine, I need a line right here. I need a fold that goes down and divides that space in half. To do that, I'm going to bring my left edge all the way over to the fold way over here. It's actually the second fold in from the right. I'm bringing my left edge way over so that it lines up with the second fold in from the right. Excellent. I put that line exactly where I wanted it. So now I'm going to do the same thing on the right side. The right side needs to divide that big middle column in half. And so I'm going to bring the right edge all the way over to the second fold on the left side. It's one of the ones I traced with pencil earlier. Okay, so I'm just flattening mine back out now, and I'm going to count how many columns I have. I should have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Okay, great. I'm going to leave my project closed, but I am going to peek inside one more time just to make sure my project isn't upside down. I want it to be right side up when I start to do this cutting part. So now I'm going to take my scissors and I'm going to make one cut. It's going to be way on the left, and it's going to be from the bottom, which is the folded edge, all the way to the top, just like this. Yes, I'm cutting my beautiful artwork I've worked so hard on so far, but I promise it'll be great in the end, so please don't worry. Now, once that's been sliced off, I'm going to use my scissors and I'm going to cut across one time right at the original fold of the paper. So now I've separated my above water from my below water picture, and I'm going to sit them right next to each other like this. So instead of them being above and below like they used to be, I'm going to be putting them right next to each other. Okay, so now I'm going to get out my long piece of paper that I have set aside from earlier, and it should be about 18 inches long and about 6 inches tall. You can see that I did not have a piece of paper that long. I actually had to get 2 pieces of paper and glue them together, and that is absolutely okay if you need to do that too. Even if you need 3 pieces of paper to glue together, that will work out just fine. So now I'm going to take my very first 2 pieces and I'm going to glue them to this long paper. I prefer to put the glue on the big white paper as the background paper. You can put them on the back of the strips, it doesn't matter. But you do need to use enough glue, and you definitely need to make sure that you press them so that they don't come unglued later. So now I'm going to take my above ground first picture. That's important, above ground first picture. And make sure it's not upside down, make sure it's right side up. Then, right beside it, you need to glue the very first underwater picture. Again, make sure it's not upside down and it goes right beside it. Make sure they're not on top of each other at all, and make sure there's no spaces in between. They go right next to each other. And then, please make sure that you have push them so they stay nice and glued down. Now, I'm going to press mine from the back. I always like to do that. I feel like it makes it stick better. Now I'm going to get my original drawing back out, make sure it's not upside down, and I'm going to cut the second folded line. So here I go, cutting the second folded line. Then I'll put aside my original drawing, open this up, and I will cut again on the fold that separated the above ground from the below water. And these are going to go in the same order as the other two. They're going to go above ground and then underwater, making sure that none of them are upside down ever. And I want to make sure that they are getting glued right next to each other. So this is going right next to, not overlapping. It's like literally sitting right up against it. And then the next one. And then again, press, 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 press. I can't stress that enough. You need to have enough glue and you need to press it so it sticks. And again, I like to push it from the back. I always worry that my fingers will smudge the drawing or the coloring and kind of mess it up. Or if my fingers are sticky, might stick to it. So pressing it from the back always makes it look so nice. And then I'm going to do it again. I'm going to cut the third piece after making sure that my art isn't upside down. So up the third one I go. Cutting across that original fold, and then I glue these down above ground and underwater. Now I'm going to stop at this point. It has taken me one class time to get to this point, so I'm going to clean up and save everything else for next week. If you have extra time and you're at home, you can continue the whole way through your original ecosystem drawing and glue them down above ground, underwater, above ground, underwater, the whole way across. And once you get to the other side, make sure everything is stuck nice and flat, set it aside to dry, and when we return next week, we'll talk about folding and finishing your Agamograph. All right, I'll see you back here next week at the Heart of a Viking.